Greetings, this is the man who pretends to be Charles Darwin, and I'm showing you, on the edge of a forest in eastern France, some dewberries. Here's some more dewberries right here. And as you can see, this is very similar to wild blackberries that are found in both Europe and North America. But there's something special about this species. The first is that the leaves are smaller and more tender, and they are not as well defended against herbivores and other animals. And as you can see, there's only 3 leaflets per leaf, and the leaves are delicate, as you can see, and they're green on the underside. Okay, whereas another species that's very similar to the dewberry is one that is found in sunnier areas. This tends to be found in shady areas, but in sunny areas you find the regular blackberry. This is known as the ronce, and it forms great big thickets out in the sun. And as you can see, look at those thorns. The thorns much bigger and more numerous than anything on the dewberry. Also, there's usually 5 leaflets rather than 3, and the underside is of white color. But another thing that's different is the season. This is September, and the flowers of the dewberry started blooming in August, and just now in September, late September, some of the fruits are becoming ripe and available for animals to eat them. Whereas the more common blackberry, this is what you see this time of year. It's still producing fruits, and some of them are red, but as soon as the red fruits turn black, ready for the animals to eat, they shrivel up and become almost nothing, as you can see. I was eating during June and July, I was eating lots and lots of blackberries from these ronce hedges, but now I can't find any to eat. This is what I see instead. Okay, so there's 2 very different species, but as far as the birds are concerned, they're pretty much alike. They both have blackberries that are edible and sweet. They're not quite the same flavor. These are a little bit more tart. And another thing is that these are smaller plants, and they do not produce as many fruits. What is it that keeps these 2 species separate from one another? Well, the first is, obviously, they do not have the same seasons. They have a temporal niche displacement, as ecologists would call it, but you don't have to call it that. What it means is they bloom at different times, they produce their fruits, ripen their fruits at different times, and as a result, the birds do not get them mixed up. If a bird flies through in July, every blackberry that it finds is likely to be of this species right here. But if it flies through in September, most of the ripe fruits that it finds are going to be of this species. So the birds will eat either one or the other. Even though it's capable of eating both, it does not do so. And it's possible that if the flowers were open at the same time, that the pollen of one of them could germinate on the stigma of another one, but that doesn't happen. Often plants have a way of keeping that from happening, but one of the ways they have to keep that from happening is by blooming at separate times. Now, these are 2 closely related species, but it's their time of blooming that keeps them separate. And all of the other characteristics that make them different, the fact that they differ in the size of leaves, the number of leaflets, and the color of the leaflets, and the amount of protection, is due to the fact that the 2 species are kept separate so that they do not crossbreed. If they crossbred, they would blend together into a single species. That is one of the fundamental concepts of evolutionary science, and you can see it just walking along a forest trail, as I have been doing in eastern France. This is the man who pretends to be Charles Darwin. Tally ho and amen.